All right, let's officially get started with tonight's webinar. It's called How to Generate 3% per month with one option trade per week. And I'm really excited that you're here because this webinar is going to teach you my bread and butter trade that generates income and that I place multiple times a week personally and with all my clients. Now, today, I'm going to show you how you can just turn 15 minutes a day into consistent monthly paychecks, no matter what the market does. So stay with me because what you're going to learn today could really transform your financial future, just like it has for me and for hundreds of my students. So I do want to ask a quick question before we start because I kind of want to get a feel for where you are. Now, the session is live today. Today is August 4th. It's just after 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So interact with me in the chat. So in the chat box, give me a number, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And the numbers are, how would you describe your current income system in the stock market? Type a 1 if it's non-existent. So in other words, you don't have a way to generate consistent income. Type a 2 if it's just trickling in, but it's nowhere near enough. Type a 3 if it's there, but it's inconsistent and you need more. Type of 4 if it's a steady flow, possibly multiple income streams that you could turn on or off when needed and that provide plenty of extra money. So do me a favor, type a 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat window and let me know. Take a look here what you guys are saying. All right, they're flying by and my screen's a little small here, so give me a second and I can get in there. All right, there we go. I see the first couple here, Carmine, Claude, Suresh. We got a 3, a 2, a 4, a 3, some 2s. All right, cool. So, like I said, here's the cool thing. If you're a 1, 2, or 3, you're definitely in the right spot today. There's no doubt about that. Now, even for those of you that said you were 4, and there were a few of you out there, I bet that you're going to learn how to increase your existing income flow and do it with less risk and, more importantly, less time spent. Now, in this webinar, you're going to begin seeing how you can make a paycheck averaging 3% per month or more. And keep in mind, this can be done regardless of market direction with little to no prior experience with options. And it's safer than just going out there and buying and selling stocks. And it's something that you can implement very quickly. Now, over the past 9 years, the system has averaged 3% per month. But more importantly, it's transformed the lives of retirees, parents, professionals, anyone looking to secure their financial future without risking it all. So do me a favor, type a yes in the chat if you'd like to learn how you can trade for 15 minutes a day and make consistent income even if you are wrong about market direction. All right, I see yes, 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 yes. All right, exactly. Now, if I were in your shoes, I'd be skeptical and I'd want some proof. Type a P in the chat if you'd want some proof. Yeah, same here. I see those annoying overhyped advertisements of the guy standing next to their fancy cars, flying in their private jet. I'm not like that. I like to let the results stand for themselves and let you decide. Now, I've taught this technique to clients for about 9 years now, and many of them were kind enough to share their story with you. Now, we can't possibly read them all, okay? But I've got a few clients as you go through the list here that I am going to share with you today. Okay, so oops, there we go. My screen kind of popped over there real quick. Sometimes that happens. All right, getting a little bit of weirdness here with my screen. Bear with me just a second. There we go. All right, so as you kind of scroll through a lot of the folks here, we're going to concentrate on a few of them here today. We're going to talk about guys like Mike, who made $12,000 and felt that, he had the keys to a cash register. Bruce, who I still work with every week, went from 100 to 452,000 in 3.5 years and no longer has those sleepless nights. Down here, John, who grew his IRA by 112% by spending no more than 15 minutes per day. Now, here's a look at our performance so far this year, and we are missing July. July, I made another 7%. So July was a very good month along with June. So keep in mind, the S&P was only up 5.5% during the first 6 months of the year. Our paycheck system through June gained over 16%. And again, adding another 7% in July. We're pretty much, as of June, just shy of that 3%. July kind of took it over. So we're happy to triple the market's performance. And, keep these in mind as we get into the later sessions, because this is the live trading that I actually do in front of my coaching students. This is not just like me trading by myself. All these trades are shown in front of coaching students. Now, one of my recent students sent me this email. He said, "Hey, Ron, just wanted to send a quick email to thank you and your team for the SPX Paycheck course back in September. I've been using the method and tracking my performance and thought you'd like to see the results. I entered my first Delta 35 trade on September 21st, 2023 with only 5,000 in my margin account. Now, less than 3 months later, I'm already at about 24%. Thanks again. I'll be teaching this method to my retired in-laws to help them grow their account in retirement." And I love hearing that. And there's also a lesson here for you. You don't need to dedicate 100 grand to this. You can start small while you learn and practice because it builds up quickly. If you started with just $5,000 and you average 3% per month, compounded over 15 years, that puts you over $1 million. And if you started with 25,000, you'd be near $1 million after 10 years. You're looking at some very serious money. Now, clearly, if you have more than $5,000 or $25,000, you're going to get there much faster. My name is Ron Wheeler, and I'm the option income coach here at VectorVest. I've been trading now for over 28 years. And when I first started out, the first couple of years, I had mostly losses like a lot of other investors. In fact, I actually took a few accounts to zero. And the reason I was losing money was because I was trading in a way that required me to be right to make money. So if I bought something, it had to go up. If I sold something short, it had to go down. Bottom line, if I wasn't right, I'd lose money. Now, like most investors, I finally learned through the tutelage of some very good traders in this industry on how to become profitable, how to pick direction right. But still, it's a struggle. It takes time. You got to manage risk. You got to get direction right. Well, I traded commodities at the time. I was never really into options. But what turned me on to options was one of our clients who was actually a hedge fund manager. He came to our office to visit us. And he showed me the secrets to how really the big institutions traded options. It was like something I had never seen with options before. Now, long story short, he showed me those inside secrets to using options so that even if I'm wrong with my analysis, I could still make money. He also showed me how to use options in a way that controls your risk. Basically, he showed me how to stack probability and control my risk. And think of the pressure that takes off you. You don't even have to be right on the trade, and you can still make money. Now, here's how we laid out today's webinar. The first part of today's webinar, we're going to show you that strategic shift that's necessary to generate consistent income. After that, I'm going to show you the 3 big mistakes you need to avoid. In fact, by knowing what these mistakes are and that there's thousands of other investors out there who will make them, you'll be in a prime position to profit. We're going to talk about things like strike prices and expiration dates and how to pick them correctly. And then in the third section, I'll show you how to set up your income trades with very low risk. Type yes in the chat if you've been told that selling options was risky. Yeah, well, today I'm going to show you how to do it the right way so that there's even lower risk than buying a stock. And then I'm going to lay out the 6-step paycheck system we follow here at VectorVest to generate income. Now, this is different than what others teach you out there, so I'm going to walk you through it today. Now, throughout the session, I'll mix in some case studies of our clients who are doing this, and one of them you might seem just like you. Now, I do feel there's a ton of great information in today's webinar, so it's going to benefit you to stay to the end. If you do stay with me to the end, I put together a nice little checklist that's going to help you plan out your trade. It's a PDF I'll put right in the handout section of the GoToWebinar. I'll drop it right in there. You can click on it, print it today. But remind me when we get to the Q&A section at the end, because a lot of times after an hour, I pretty much just forget to do it. Now, also, I love to interact during the webinar, and I feel we get a lot more out of it when we interact together. So far, you guys have been great using the chat box, and there's going to be several times throughout the webinar where I'm going to ask you some questions. So let's interact back and forth. Now, I've got several members of the team with me here today. So this is a live webinar. If you have a question, type it in the chat. If I don't see it, my team will help you out. And keep in mind, there's only so much we can cover in an hour. So throughout the session, I'll be mentioning some things that you can do after the webinar if you want to continue your education and start implementing this sooner. Now, we'll talk about that more at the end, but I guarantee this is going to be 1 hour of packed information. So if you're good with that and you're ready, just give me a quick yes in the chat window. All right, I see yes, 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 yes. Excellent. Now, why is this such an important topic? Well, without an income system, Financial stress is your constant companion. That creates a number of problems for us. You may feel stuck working longer than planned, or you're stressed worrying about running out of money. You might be depleting your savings faster than you can fill it. You might even fear you'll have to go back to work. Now, with the options paycheck system to help you generate income, you can break free of that. It's designed to help you generate income safely and consistently in less than 15 minutes a day. And I think this is probably the most important point of the webinar. So pay attention, even write this down. In order to be financially free, our main need is income. To be financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. So I'll say it again. In order to become financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. Now, whether you're still working or you're retired, the ability to generate income from your investments is one of the most empowering skill sets you can have. Because when you have the ability to generate income from your investments, your life will change. If you're still working, you can increase your earning capacity. It's like having a second job. If you're retired, you can have a consistent source of income as if you quit your job, but they kept paying you. It's like a tap you can turn on whenever you want. This is going to allow you to do the things you want to do now and when you retire. When you've got a system to help you generate income, it can help you retire even younger. So as I said, this is going to be one of the most important points of the presentation. So I'll say it again. When the income from your investments exceeds your living expenses, you become financially free. Now, the first thing you need to know to generate income with options, it's a bit of a strategic mindset shift. You're either going to continue being the gambler where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller and win more than you lose. Being an option seller is the way that you can make consistent income, and it allows you to win even when you're wrong. Now, the reason you want to be the casino or the house is that, well, number one, the house always wins. Number two, the house always wins because they control and stack probability in their favor. The options paycheck system is built around you stacking the odds massively in your favor. So make a note of this. In order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to stack probability in your favor. And the first step is that shift from being the buyer of options to being the seller. So let me explain. Bruce is a great example of that shift from gambling on stocks to being in the casino and controlling and stacking probability in his favor. He had said prior to working with us, he had mainly taken stock tips from his broker. Now, Bruce focused on our SPX income system, which is our most basic trading system. He said he's not the most technical person in the world, but in the time he's been working with us, he's grown his trading account from 100 to 497,000 in 3.5 years. He's achieving a 74% win percentage simply by following the rules of the options paycheck system, and the whole system takes him around 15 minutes a day. So let me show you how this works. This is an example of a typical trade you've been taught to make. You find a stock you like, you think it's going to go up, so either you buy shares of it or you buy a call. Now, why do you buy a call option? Well, when you started learning options, it's what you were taught to do. But what ends up happening a lot of times? Either the stock doesn't go up or it doesn't go up enough, and the call you bought ends up expiring worthless. Has that ever happened to you? Well, what's the problem that's causing you to lose? Now, most people feel maybe they picked the wrong stock, or maybe it was the wrong strike price, or maybe it was the wrong expiration. But let's talk about the real problem. If you've been losing money or had more losers than winners with other systems, it's not your fault. That's because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're taught to buy an option. But as a buyer, the probabilities are not on your side. And for most people, they end up buying and losing and buying and losing and buying and losing. Our options paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking. You need to be a seller and not a buyer. This is how you get ahead of everyone else. This is how you put probability on your side. It's how you win even if you're wrong. So let's take a closer look at selling options. Now, as a buyer, a typical trade gives you a 50-50 chance to be a winner because when you buy, The only way you make money is if the stock moves in your direction. But instead of having a buyer's mentality, you're going to have a seller's mentality. So instead of hoping a stock just goes up, as a seller, you're going to strategically set up your trade using probability. That probability will tell you where the stock is not likely to go. So instead of just needing the stock to go in your direction, you can pick a price which basically says, as long as it doesn't come down to here, I can still make money. Now think about that. You pick a price below the stock, you think it's going to go up, and as long as it stays above that price, you make money. So if the stock goes up like you thought it would, you make money. But if the stock goes sideways, you still make money. The stock can even come down a little bit and you still make money. So right from the beginning, probability is in your favor. And you can increase that probability even more. You simply choose a lower price, which gives you a bigger area where you can be right. Now, we do a lot of trades that start off with a 70% chance of success, and you can only do this as an option seller. As a seller, you're putting the probability of success in your favor, and that's the definition of an income trade. An income trade is one where you can make money even if you are wrong on direction. Now, Bruce, he continues to trade with us every week. In fact, he posted in our private group and said, "Another day trading on the beach. Got my eyes on AMC and a cold beer. Life's good. Thank you, VectorVest and Ron, for giving us the tools to do what we do from anywhere." That's a great picture of being financially free. Now, Mike was someone who dabbled with options but said he lost on each trade. Have you ever been there? Can you imagine how frustrating that must be to lose on each trade? Well, eventually he just gave it up. He eventually tried to learn more about options, but he said he never felt comfortable he knew what he was doing. He said he didn't have any set criteria. So Mike and I worked together. I taught him the options paycheck system of becoming an option seller, and he said he became like an income machine. In fact, after he learned the system, he went out and said he had 17 out of 19 winning trades with a profit of over $12,000 in 4 months. The key lesson is going from buyer or gambler to the seller or the house that turned his situation around. And he was even so proud of his success, he sent me a spreadsheet of his trades. Now, here's Mike's results. First off, look at the profit column and the loss. Look at the number of winners compared to losers. That's typical. Also, under work days to close, look at the number of days it took to close trades. 2, 3, 4, 5, 11. He's pulling in about $1,000 every 7 to 10 days. And that's important to note here. This is not like a day trading strategy where you're going to be in front of your computer. This is like 15 minutes a day at most, 15 minutes a week at the least. Now, if you're like Mike and a lot of our students, you can start by trading our SPX system. This is the index that tracks the S&P 500. It's only one trade per week and has averaged about 2.3% per month over the last decade. You're not just learning how to trade options. You're creating a future where your income grows without adding hours to your day. Imagine turning your financial stress into confidence, knowing your money is working harder than ever, even when you're not. You're not looking for one big home run trade to become a millionaire overnight. You're growing your account steadily each year. And that's really the key takeaway. Those home runs look good, but singles are what win the games. These singles are what will enable you to never run out of money and be able to do the things that you want to do. Now, one of my jobs as your coach today is to help you make a few great decisions. That first shift to generate income with options is to move from being a hopeful gambler to where you implement a system of high probability selling. Now, I'm not saying you need to be a full-time options trader. You're still going to do some stock trading, but we're going to mix in some other trades where you sell options for income. So in the chat, type in gambler if you want to continue taking low probability trades, or type the word seller if you think it makes more sense to trade with high probability. Hey, every once in a while, maybe you do a trade where you gamble with a little bit of your money. I do it. Tonight, I've been talking about this for the last week and a half. I gamble on options, on earnings, right? I don't put a ton of money behind it. I made like $100. I bet that Palantir would have good earnings tonight. We'll see what happens, right? I think they were up after hours. And listen, again, I'm talking a trade where maybe you gamble with a little bit of your money. But what do you think overall is a better idea to do for an income system. So in the chat, type in gambler or seller. Let me know what your choice is. All right, I see lots of sellers. That's what I like to see. Seller, seller, seller. So you see, my promise to you was that you can generate a consistent monthly paycheck no matter what the market does. Being an option seller is how you're going to do that. Now, let's move on to section 2. You've seen that by simply flipping from being the buyer to being the seller, you can stack the odds significantly in your favor. But you need to know how to sell options correctly because there's a right way to do it and there's certainly a wrong way to do it. So let's start talking about how to do it the right way. To stack the odds even further in your favor, you need to understand and capitalize on the 3 most common buyers' mistakes that people make. Now, basically, you're going to avoid making them and do the opposite. So let me explain. Mistake number 1 is that option buyers choose unrealistic strikes. They choose strikes that are so far away, the stock has no chance of hitting it. So here's a stock. Let's say you're bullish on the stock. The stock's like $217 a share. You think it's going to go up, but you buy an option with a strike price way up here, right? Up at 230. You are not going to make any money unless the stock goes up to $230 a share. What's the chance of that happening? It's very remote. Now, why do people do things like this, right? They buy a trade where the stock's got to go up $15, $17 a share before they see profits. Well, they do it because those options up there are very inexpensive. And too many buyers treat options like lottery tickets. Yeah, it's like a little scratch off. I'll spend $1, but who knows? Maybe I'll win 500. Well, guess what? Most of the time, like the scratch offs, they lose, right? Many buyers treat them like those lottery tickets. Now, since there are going to be buyers out there who will buy these options, you may as well be the one who sells it to them. You're selling an option that has a low probability of getting hit. And since it has a low probability of getting hit, that means you have a high probability of winning. And the same goes for puts. There are people who buy puts down here either as lottery tickets or maybe cheap insurance. It doesn't really matter why they're buying the puts down there. The fact is, there's always going to be buyers out there buying these options. And since there will always be buyers out there buying these options, you may as well be the one who sells it to them. Because selling these options gives you a 60 to 90% probability of success right from the very start of the trade. Now, the second mistake that buyers make is they choose expiration dates that are too close to the current date. It's like when you go to the grocery store and you see a piece of steak on the discount rack. It's cheap, but it will be worthless very soon. And the same is true for options. Now, here you see what happens to the price of an option in relation to the number of days before expiration. Now, notice, over 180 days, okay, it took about 135 days to lose half of the option's value. But in the last 45 days down here, the price really dropped off. Now, a lot of buyers, they buy options down here with less than 45 days until expiration. Now, why do they buy these options if there's so little time left? Again, it's because the options are cheaper. You see that all the value's gone, right? But by doing this, you're doing that lottery ticket approach. You're stacking the probability against you. So instead of buying options in this window, we're going to sell our options there. Now, to be more specific, our paycheck system uses expirations that are 21 to 45 days away. That's really the sweet spot of the options that we sell. Now, here's a look at a graph of Home Depot. Now, most buyers will go out there and they'll buy their expiration dates out, maybe here. It's about 6 weeks out, right? About 40 days. But that expiration is too close. Notice, you're in that final 45 days, and the value of the option is dropping off just because it's getting closer to expiration. So not only are you fighting to have the stock go in your direction, now you're fighting that decay. Okay? This is bad for an options buyer, but you're going to be the option seller. You're going to let that time decay work in your favor because as the option loses value, that's how you make your money. Okay? Remember, there's always going to be people out there buying options that have an expiration date too close. You may as well be the one who sells them that option. Let them be the gambler. You be the casino. You will always win in the end. Now, the third mistake buyers make is they simply pay too much. They buy what's called an overpriced option. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. Here's two stocks, and I want you to look at the top. Notice that both stocks are around the same price. They're about 12 cents apart. But even though the two stocks have the same stock price, they have very different options prices. The one on the left has a premium of $9.10. So if you were to buy that call, it would cost you $910. Over on the right, that option is $1.80. So it would cost you $180 to buy that option. Basically, the one on the right, or the one on the left, I should say, is like 4 times more expensive. Now, why do they have such different options prices? Because the option on the left had extremely high volatility, leading to the option being overpriced. Buyers who buy these options are paying too much. Well, what's the big deal, right? I mean, think about it back to the inflation we've had, right? Eggs were $8 a dozen, now they're back to like $2.50, right? Well, the only downside of eggs being $8 is they're expensive. You're still going to go home and cook them and they're going to taste the same as when they're $2, right? But this is different. This is different. Watch what happens if the price of the stocks go up $8 per share. They go from 76 to 84. Watch what happens to the value of the options. Even though both stocks rose, the overpriced option on the left actually lost money. Think about that. The buyer got the direction right, but they still lost. Why? Because the option was expensive, overpriced. They didn't pay attention to volatility. They paid way too much. That's a buyer's mistake. Well, we're going to turn that buyer's mistake into a seller's advantage. So instead of buying these overpriced options, you're going to be the seller. Now think about that. As an option seller, we're going to allow to be wrong on direction and still make money. By selling these expensive options, we can stack probability even more on our side, and the more money we sell the option for, the lower amount of risk we have on the trade. Now, Bob has one of the most interesting stories I've seen. He said prior to working with us, he was making a bunch of the mistakes we talked about here, and it cost him dearly. In fact, he ended up either broke or bankrupt 3 times. In his own words, said he came close to living under a bridge. The options paycheck system helped Bob turn his situation around in as little as 4 months. He learned to turn these mistake liabilities into strategies to control and stack probability in his favor. He said in 4 months, he grew his account by 71% and achieved a 79% winning trade percentage. Remember, in order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to control and stack probability in your favor. Now, let me ask you, have any of you ever made these buyer's mistakes? Just type a yes or no in the chat box. Yes, everyone has. It's not your fault. You were simply taught a broken system. Now, again, one of my jobs as your coach today is to help you make a few great decisions. And if you're trading options that generate income, you can't make these common buyer's mistakes. Even if you leave the webinar and don't become an option seller, promise yourself you'll stop making these common buyer's mistakes. So whatever you continue on with, any of the courses or coaching we offer here at VectorVest, make that promise to yourself. So in the chat, type avoid if you will avoid these buyer's mistakes. Just give me a quick avoid. All right, Peter, Lewis, you guys are the first couple to pop in there. And I see Glenn and Brett, Suresh, Terrence. All right, avoid, 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 avoid. Love it. Now listen, there's thousands of people out there who will continue to make these buyer's mistakes. You can't prevent them from doing that. Since they're going to be doing that, you may as well know how to capitalize on it. So if you want to generate consistent income with options, you simply need to take the other side of these trades. Now that you know you want to be an option seller and you're going to avoid and capitalize on the common mistakes buyers make, let's look at how to trade with very little risk. And when a lot of people hear the word options, and especially the term selling options, they think it's really risky. That's because some people, they just go out there and start selling options because, well, it's a high probability trade, but they don't understand and protect themselves. Now, the option paycheck system uses a very low risk strategy for selling options. This is why it's a core strategy we teach all of our retirees. Now, why is reducing risk so important? Most people who don't use the options paycheck system, they're not preserving their capital. They have one bad trade wipe out the gains from a bunch of winners. And when you suffer those large losses, it's hard. It takes a long time to recover. But when you do it right with the right system in place, you're going to have a built in protection plan. You're going to take care of risk management before you even open the trade. And when you can confidently select stocks, you set your trades up in a way that reduces risk, it allows you to preserve and grow your capital. Now, like I said earlier, home runs look good, but singles are what win the games. Now, one of the most common questions we get asked is, can you trade options from an IRA? Well, a client of ours, John, is. He grew his IRA over 112% in 1 year using our options paycheck system. John said he had tried and struggled with trading for some time before working with us. He learned to follow the system and turned his inconsistent results into predictable monthly income. He said in 12 months, he enjoyed 85% winning trades and more than doubled the size of his IRA while spending no more than 15 minutes per day on his trading. So the options paycheck system is going to make sure you reduce your risk before you even open the trade. First, we choose stocks that are low risk. We have a very specific criteria, but in general, if we're bullish, we start by focusing on good stocks that are already rising in price. Very similar to the graph you see here. Then, instead of selling naked, we're going to sell with protection. So let me show you how to do this. Now, traditional option selling systems leave you with all of this risk. The options paycheck system shrinks your risk to just this. So let's look at how this works. This is a graph of a typical stock we'd be bullish on. It's a beautiful graph, so it's understandable why you want to be bullish on a stock that looks like this. Now, traditionally, people would buy the stock here, right? The current price. Maybe now you're going to buy a call using the current stock price as a basis for your strike price. But whatever, you're not the buyer anymore. You're the seller. So here's what you're going to do. If you think that a stock will go up, you are going to go underneath the stock and you are going to sell a put. Now, when you sell that put, you receive a premium. Basically, you're getting paid. In this example, you get $200 per option contract. 10 option contracts would be $2,000. That's great, right? But you have no downside protection in case the stock drops. So what we do is we use a built-in protection plan. You're going to buy a put down here as insurance. Now, buying this put has reduced your risk to just this. So no matter how far down the stock goes, this is your risk right here. Now, that protection plan does cost something. To buy that protection, you need to use some, but not all of the money you receive from selling the put. So in this example, the insurance only cost $100. Now that's okay because you received $200 from selling the put. That's going to leave you with a net credit of $100 per contract. You're getting paid $100 to make the trade. There's no money out of your pocket. If you did 10 contracts, you just received a credit of $1,000. So you get paid to place these high probability trades. Now, think about what this has done. The stock could go up, which you think it will, you're going to profit. But the stock could now go sideways, and you could still profit. The stock could even go down a little bit, and you can still make money. And if the stock goes down too far, we exit the trade and we take a very small proportional loss. Now, let's do this. I want to set up a trade using an example of a trade I do with my clients to help you kind of better understand how to set them up. So I'm going to be showing you some numbers now, so pay attention. Now, the first thing is direction. When the market is bullish, we are placing bullish income trades. We've been placing bullish income trades since May now. Okay, we might be in a change of direction right now, but it's not quite confirmed yet, so we'll have to see how it goes. Now, earlier I gave you a tip and said we're going to sell options between 21 and 45 days to expiration. Here's another tip. We're going to pick option strike prices that give us at least a 60% chance of winning. Okay? So let me explain how this works. This is an example of a trade I took back in May. This is DRI. It's in a nice uptrend going from lower left to upper right. Now, you're going to win the trade if DRI stays above the strike price you pick prior to the expiration date in red. So here's the cool part. You're going to go to your broker. You're going to look at puts that expire within 21 to 45 days. Okay? Every strike price gives you a probability. So the stock right now is at 203. I go into my options chain and I see that if I sell a $200 put, selling that $200 put is going to give me a 55% chance of winning. Why? Because there is a 55% chance that over the next month till option expiration, we will stay above $200 per share. Okay? Now, if I go down a little bit farther to 195, this is going to give me a 64% chance of winning. Now, what's that probability based on? That's based on the historical movement of this stock. So now I've got a 64% chance if I sell a 195 put, because there's a 64% chance by expiration the stock will be above 195. If I go all the way down to 185, I now have an 80% chance of winning, because there's an 80% chance that this $200 stock will stay above 185 over the next month to expiration. Now, there's the three choices. I want you to, without knowing anything else, be honest. If I approached you and said, hey, do you want a 55, 64, 80% probability of winning, which one would you choose? Type it in the chat box. Which one would you choose? All right, Peter, you were first at 80. Suresh, B, 64. Glenn, Terrence, 80. Lewis, 64. Okay, so I see lots of you at 80 and 64. Nobody chose A. That means you were paying attention to the pro tip I gave you, right? All right, so let's talk about this. First and foremost, the absolute correct answer is B. Okay, we're going to choose the one at 64%. But let's talk about the whys here. All right, why 64%? Why not 80%? So when I do a trade like this, I set the trades up to where if I win, I'm going to make $750 if I win. Okay? So if I sell a 195 put, I'm going to design the trade to make $750 if I win. Now, if I get onto the 185, I'm also going to design that trade to make $750 if I win. Now, how do I make it 750? Well, you adjust the number of contracts. Sometimes it might be 12 contracts. Sometimes it might be 8. Sometimes I might have to do 12, 15. It doesn't matter. I adjust the number of contracts to get to my desired profit outcome. I control that. Now, at 80%, what happens if the average win is 750, but let's say my loss is $4,000. So think about that. I'm going to make, let's say we did this 10 times. 10 times, I'm going to make $750 8 times. 80% accuracy, right? So if I take this trade 10 times and I'm 80% right, I'm going to make $750 8 times. I'm going to make $6,000. But on the two losers, I'm going to lose $8,000. What good is being 80% right if the losers are going to take all your winners away? This is what happens if you sell options incorrectly. Probability is a beautiful thing, but just like anything else, it's bad for you if it's done too much, right? A glass of wine is healthy for you. Drinking 3 bottles of wine a night? Probably not. Drinking 64 ounces of water a day is pretty darn healthy. Drinking 640 ounces of water, not too safe. So Too much probability is bad. This is the key area, that 60 to 70%. I've got a trade that maybe I'll make 750 on my winners, and maybe on my losers, I'll lose $800. So think about that. Now, again, extrapolate the data. I know you can't take like 6.4 winning trades. Okay, I get that. But let's just do the math. At 10 trades, you win 6.4 times. In those 6.4 wins, you make 750, right? You're going to make $4,800 on the winning trades. All right? In the 3.6 losers, you're going to lose 2880. You're going to come out ahead. You're making $4,800 on the winners, you're losing 2880 on the losers. This is the way to be an option seller. Now, I told you that was a trade I actually took. That's called a bull put spread. Bullish because I'm bullish on the stock. Puts because I'm selling a 195 put and I'm buying a 190 put as insurance. And then spread because there's a $5 difference between these two prices. We call that a $5 spread. Okay? Now, remember, these trades have built-in protection programs, right? So no matter how far down the stock goes, if I'm wrong, my risk in this case is limited to only $98 per contract. That's it. Now, this trade took a little bit of time, but it worked. I took the trade back here. The stock went up for a little bit, it came down, and then it went right back up. And in 2 weeks, typical 7 to 10 days, this trade made me my $712 profit. Now, if you're wondering, I'm wrong. I thought you said 750. Well, 712 is after commission. So I paid like $28 in commission to place this trade. Okay? That's my after commission. So I should say I make 750 before commission. Took 2 weeks. All the stock had to do was stay above this guy right here. Quick and simple. All right, another client I work with is Jim. He said prior to working with me, he told me his results were inconsistent and he felt very unsatisfied. He kept thinking that there had to be something else out there that he was missing, right? Something better. He said he wanted a way to supplement what he was doing and provide more regular income with a higher probability of success. After learning the system of being an option seller, he told me he had 21 winners in a row and returned 76% in about 8 months. And his average trade only lasted 8 days. Can you imagine how that must feel to go from inconsistent to where you rip off 21 winners in a row? So your third shift is to make sure when you sell options, you set up your trades with very low risk. Our options paycheck system makes sure you have a guaranteed maximum risk. And it all goes back to whether you'd rather be the gambler or the casino. Because keep in mind, the house always wins in the end. Being an option seller is the way that you can make consistent income each month. It allows you to do it more safely and with a higher probability of success than simply buying and selling stocks. Now, today's been all about building a system to generate consistent income with options, regardless of what the market's doing. So let's put this together, and I want to look at the 6-step paycheck system we use to generate consistent income. And again, you can do this in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now, my students who've implemented this have told me this is the most important thing they learned. Why is that important? Because one of the biggest things people ask us is how much time is it going to take me? Well, it's a great question. Here's the challenge. There's thousands of stocks out there. You got to be able to find how to pick the right stock with the right strategy. When do you get in? What expiration? What price? What do you do if it goes against you? And then when do you get out? And sometimes it feels like you're trying to find a needle in the haystack. There's so much information out there, you don't know where to look. You spend hours researching trades, going from guru to guru, looking for advice. But without a system, you're trading blindly. You're like a mouse running through a maze, bumping into wall after wall. You don't know where to go. It's stressful, many times disheartening. But with the right system, you can identify good trades, get reliable income as little as 15 minutes a day. And if you think you're too busy, remember this. Time is your most valuable resource. This system requires just 15 minutes a day and is designed to give you back control of your time and money. Imagine what you could do with that freedom. But to get that, you need a system, and not just any system, a straight line system, a simple way to know when to place your trades, how to find your trades, how to set them up, and how to manage them. So let me walk you through the steps of the options paycheck system. Now, step one is market direction. And too many traders ignore this. They just go out and start placing trades. You're going to be placing trades that are either bullish or bearish, so you have to have a way to know the market's direction. Now, today we focused on bullish trades, but you can do these trades when the market's going up or down. It doesn't matter. By doing this, you've narrowed your focus. So instead of looking at everything, you're looking at one of two possible scenarios. Now, our options paycheck system has a timing signal built in that we use to tell us the market's direction. Now, after you know the direction of the market, you're going to want to select stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction. Just trading the stocks you know or listening to the gurus on TV, this is not the best choice for this. What you want to do is find good stocks already in uptrends when the market is rising, bad stocks that are in downtrends when the market is falling. Now, we save a lot of time in two ways. We look at two main things, fundamentals and price trend. We have built-in searches in VectorVest, which we use instead of digging through the data the institutions throw at you. Now, once you have a list of stocks, you want a way to select the best ones for options trading. Now, remember earlier, we looked at how big of an effect volatility had at options price? We focus on selling options with volatility in the upper end of the range, but we don't stop there. To take even more risk out of the trade, we filter out those with upcoming earnings, and we make sure the expiration date is in that sweet spot. Now, you can use tools from a broker to help. We use a proprietary search tool, which is going to find these candidates for you in just a matter of seconds. Now it's time to set up your trade. We're going to pick the one that has a high probability of success. We're going to pick the strike prices that give us the biggest possible credit, but are far enough away from the stock's price that you have a little chance of losing. We also want to make sure that you have the best possible risk to reward ratio, just like we did at DRI. Now, before you place the trade, you need to know what to do if the trade goes for you or against you. You don't want to be sitting in a trade feeling frozen like a deer in the headlights because you don't know what to do. Our options paycheck system has rules to take profits at predefined levels. These can be set up in advance with your broker. And if a trade ever goes against us, we have a simple adjustment strategy that's going to bring in even more income to minimize losses. We also know exactly when to exit trades, and I set those orders up in advance with my broker. That way they happen unemotionally and automatically for me. Now, lastly, it's time for trade execution. You want to confidently place your trades with your broker. Our paycheck system does this by planning the trade in advance, and we use limit orders. Now, earlier we talked about Mike and Jim. Each of them is getting the results in about 15 minutes a day. Hugh is as well. And he told me one of his biggest struggles was finding a system that was efficient and worked. He said he sought the proper balance between trading and free time. He didn't have a proper work-life balance. Are you like that too? Do you spend too much time doing things you don't want to do and then not enough time doing the things you want to? Now that Hugh learned the options paycheck system of selling options, he said he has more confidence, more free time, and he's able to have more fun. In his first 43 trades, he had 38 winners and returned over $26,000 in 4 months. So let's do this. I want you to take your pen. I want you to put a little star next to the part of your system where you're good. So for example, if you have a quick way to find a list of stocks likely to go in the direction of the market, put a little star there. But if there's an area where something isn't working or you need a little work, put a frowny face there. So for example, if you don't know how to manage and repair a trade, put a frown there. Don't overthink it. I'm going to give you about 15 seconds or so to give yourself a star or a frown. And I'm willing to bet maybe 1 in 100 investors will ever know how to do this. So let me ask you, in the chat, share with me, what areas do you need to work on? Kind of curious. There's lots of 2s and 3s, so I'm kind of wondering where you need to work on in this kind of a process. All right. I see everything from options down, new options trader. I see money management, almost all Suresh says. Michael says trade management, taking more losers than winners. Okay. Peter, option selection, Carmine, setup, trade management, Lewis. Okay. Now, here's the thing. In order to be successful, we need to get it to where you have stars all the way down, because once you do, You're going to be able to generate income every month and do it in less than 15 minutes a day. So I can't know your exact reason for coming to today's webinar, but I'm going to make a few guesses here. Maybe you haven't really known what to do and you feel like you've been trading blindly, bumping from one wall into the next. It's left you with inconsistent results. You make some money, but then you give it all back on your next trade. Just like Jim said happened to him before he learned the options paycheck system. Maybe you've been suffering through loss after loss, and those small losses are killing your portfolio. Maybe the money coming in isn't exceeding the money going out. Maybe you're just not where you want to be. Now, today, I showed you the secret to fixing that. It's a secret that I bet only 1 in 100 investors will ever know, and now you're one of them. You saw it's possible to win even if you're wrong. You can do it with very little risk, even less risk than buying and selling stocks. You saw the system to get consistent income every month, and I showed you just a few of the many, many people who use the system every day so they never have to worry about their retirement again. You saw over and over the secret to generating your consistent income is that shift from being the gambler to being the casino. Now remember, you're going to be that one investor out of 100 who knows that secret. That means there's going to be 99 other investors out there who will continue to do things wrong. They'll be buying options, making all the mistakes we talked about. You can't stop them from doing it. There's always going to be those investors out there who buy options incorrectly. Let them be the gamblers. As long as there will always be those gamblers out there, you may as well be the casino, because remember the old saying, the house always wins in the end. The options paycheck system teaches you how to stack the probability of success in your favor, just like it did Brian and Bruce and Bob and Jim and Hugh and John. So by now, you've seen how the system works. You've heard how others just like you have achieved that financial freedom. So the question is no longer, can it work? It's, are you ready to make it work for you? So let me walk you through how to get started today. And you have a choice. Option number one is you can choose to do absolutely nothing and stay exactly where you are. If you already have enough money to retire, you're not worried about running out of money, then maybe you don't need the paycheck system. But if you'd like to make some extra income every month, that leaves you with two other options. Option two is you can do it alone. You can try to learn how the option trades work, try to figure out the direction of the market, learn how to analyze the thousands of stocks that are out there, find the best one to trade, hope you do the right one, manage it correctly. Listen, if you're willing to work hard, spend hours in front of your computer, and you're willing to learn by trial and error, you might be able to pull it off. Option three is to let us guide you through it. I'll walk you through each piece of the options paycheck system. In just a few weeks, you'll have a simple system to follow that doesn't take a lot of time. Of those three options, ask yourself what's going to be easier for you. You know, there's two types of people. Person number one, who's someone who dreams about their financial goals but never takes action or does anything to make it happen. Person number two is someone who's serious about their financial future. You're ready to take action when you see an opportunity in front of you. You know, the real risk isn't trying something new, it's doing nothing and staying stuck. The market won't wait, your expenses aren't going to stop. Every month you delay could be another month of missed opportunity to grow your wealth. So let me tell you what we put together for you. The Options Paycheck Experience is the most comprehensive program for generating consistent income using option spreads. The Options Paycheck Experience is the only implementation program of its kind that teaches the secret to generating consistent income with options. We show you exactly how to find, set up, manage, and place option spreads to generate income, and how to do it safely and consistently in any market condition. That way you never have the fear of running out of money. Now, we only open registration a few times a year, so if you're serious about building consistent income, this is your chance to join a proven system that works. Now, after going through the experience, you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work, along with all the fancy terms. That way you no longer have the fear of options. You're going to have clear signals telling you when to trade, whether to place bullish trades, bearish trades, or even when not to trade. You're going to be able to quickly identify the stocks that make the best candidates for your option income trades using a rules-based approach. This is going to free up a lot of time. You're going to set up income trades so it gives you a 60% or higher success rate. You're going to have a trade management game plan in place prior to placing the trade so you know how to handle any situation the market throws at you. You're going to be able to confidently enter and exit trades with your broker like a pro, whether it's your first trade or your 500th. You're going to implement a system that allows you to safely and consistently generate income so you can begin to live that lifestyle you want without the fear of running out of money. Now, the course is 8 modules, and we made them so each module builds on the one prior. The first 2 lay the foundation, and the other 6 will teach you the 6-step system, step by step. So by the time you're done, you're going to have that system for consistent income. Now, the first 2 modules are what we call the option income foundation. A lot of people try to build a successful income portfolio, but they base it on such a weak foundation of knowledge. We totally understand what it's like to learn options. We've been there. That's why it pays to learn from a team who's gone through this before. The outcome you're going to get in module 1 is you're going to know exactly how calls and puts work so you can confidently use them in your trades. You're going to know which terms to pay attention to, which terms to ignore. That way you don't waste time or get frustrated. In module 2, you're going to learn what the spreads are and how they work. You're going to be filled with all the confidence you need to start building your income system around these new trades. Now that you've got that solid foundation of options knowledge, let's lay out the step-by-step system to placing income trades to generate your options paychecks. Now, each step here is going to start stacking probability in your favor and reducing risk. And it all starts with knowing when to trade. Here, you're going to get complete clarity on market trends. So instead of looking at all possible trades, you're going to narrow your focus. You're going to know whether to place a bullish trade or a bearish trade, and even when not to trade. After you know the direction of the market, you're going to want to find stocks that are highly likely to move in the same direction of the market. This is going to stack probability even more in your favor. The outcome here is you're going to know how to quickly find the best stocks and indexes that give you the highest probability. Now that you got your list of stocks, we're going to narrow it down to the best option candidates that give you the highest probability for profits. By using the rules in this module, you're going to make sure you're getting paid top dollar for your trade and making it so you can make money even if the stock goes nowhere. You're going to continue to stack probability and reduce risk in module 6 by the way you set your trades up. Here, we're going to make sure the trade has that perfect combination of risk and reward, and you're going to know exactly where to set your strikes. Like earlier we chose 195 and 190. Great trades don't happen by accident. They happen because you plan them and you set them up correctly right from the beginning. And now that you've got that high probability trade picked out, you're ready? In module 7, you're going to learn how to have your plan in place. That way you know when to exit the trade, not only to take profits, but to minimize losses. You're never going to be frozen like a deer in the headlights again. No matter what the market throws at you, you're going to know how to react, and that's going to allow you to trade completely stress-free. And now that you found the best stock, you set up that low risk, high probability option trade, you mapped out your management game plan, now it's time to place the trade. This module will break down the trade execution phase into simple, repeatable steps that you're going to commit to muscle memory in no time. Not only do you get the entire course, but if you act now, you're going to receive our exclusive trade planning spreadsheet. We put everything you need to do into this spreadsheet so you never miss a step. When someone's first starting out, it's comforting having that security blanket to make sure you did everything correctly. Plus, we know that placing trades with your broker can be intimidating. So in addition to video walkthroughs of several popular brokers, we also have click-by-click directions for the most popular options broker, Schwab's Thinkorswim platform. It's what I use. You're going to see it a lot. Now, before we talk about the low price of the course, I want to make this even more low risk for you. We offer a 100% money-back guarantee on the course. So you can go through the entire course, and if you're not satisfied we taught you how to profit using options, all you got to do is notify us within a week of finishing the course, and you can get your money back. It's completely no risk. All we ask is that you give it your best effort. You have to come to the classes or watch the recordings, do the assignments. We know if you do, you're going to see the results. So if you sign up, but you don't do the work, don't do the course, don't watch the classes, you're not going to be eligible for a refund. The reason I set the policy like this is because I only want to attract people who are ready to jump in, do the work, and get the results. I want to attract those serious investors. In order to do that, when I make the policy like this, I only attract those people who are serious about getting those results. And when you do this, you're going to be learning the system that averages 3% per month. That's 36% per year on average. And remember, it doesn't take a lot of time to do it every week. You know, I received this email from a client who took the course. Ron, I'm writing to thank you for teaching the options paycheck course. I took your class last fall and wanted you to know my results for the past 10 months. I keep a journal to document every trade, and so far I've profited on 239 out of the 350 trades I've taken, a 68% win rate. I've profited over $100,000 in this time. What's more exciting is that since my knowledge and experience have grown in regards to taking really good risk reward trades, I've profited over 50,000 in the last 6 weeks. My success rate has been 78% over my last 100 trades, and I only take trades with a 2 to 1 or better risk reward. Thank you again for teaching this simple but effective system. Now, I want to talk about this real quick. If you look at Joe's email, in 10 months, he took 350 trades. It's about 35 trades a month. He's trading at a very, very high frequency, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I, on the other hand, only take about 10 to 15 trades per month. We're still getting the results. So if you want to go all out like Joe, 35 trades a month, no problem. If you want to be a little bit more laid back like I am, 10 to 15, no problem. Still going to be okay. Now, if you look at his numbers, right? And I told Joe, hey, Joe, I'll give you 100 grand in exchange for 2,000. Is that a trade that you would take? Well, I got a better offer here that you're going to see. Now, before I tell you more about it, I want to point something out here. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. So it's not something where you should expect to become a millionaire in the next 24 hours. It's serious. It's going to require some effort on your part. So if you're not going to commit to it, don't do it. It's not for you. This is for serious people who take their investing seriously and who are willing to put in time to learn the system. So if you're serious about this and you're ready to do the work and get the results, then the Options Paycheck course is perfect for you. Step-by-step training to go from option basics to a full, complete income generating system. Just these training modules alone are worth the price of the course. But we've also put together some amazing bonuses for you today if you order. Option number one, or bonus number one, is called the Mastery Package. The Mastery Package includes module by module mastery sessions. Each week, we have 2 mastery sessions, one dedicated to each module to help you master the course material. Then on Friday, I'm going to have an additional live Q&A. That means you're going to have 3 live sessions a week, giving you plenty of opportunities to ask questions and get help. We also include a private dedicated email support with me and my team. If you don't have it, we're going to give you access to both VectorVest and our Options Pro software that we use. That way you can test drive the tools that we use to help you implement this the best. With the Mastery Package bonus, you're going to have the tools and support you need to master the techniques taught in the course so you're ready to place your first income trades in the shortest time possible. And to make sure you are, bonus 2 is called Implementation Month. You're going to get access to my live trading sessions, the same sessions where I put on the DRI trade. Earlier on, I showed you my results for the year so far. That's where I place those live trades. You're going to watch me find, select, set up, and place those trades in real time. Plus, I'll show you how I manage them each week. This is a huge bonus. You're going to see the paycheck system in action, and you're going to follow along in your own account. We also hold live office hours twice a week. Together, we're going to walk through the system step by step in real time. Our past students have said this is their favorite part of the course because watching that repetition really helps cement the concepts in the process for them. Now, if you're worried it might be too much, I'm including this bonus. It's called the SPX Paycheck System. This is where I take the entire course and boil it down to something you can do in a little 15 minutes a week. It's one trade type on one ticker symbol with one setup rule, one profit rule, one stop criteria. It's simple. It's easy to do. My teammate Brian taught this to his 14-year-old daughter at the time, and she was able to do the trades. For a lot of my students, this is the only system they use. So, as a recap, with today's offer, you get the complete Options Paycheck training program, 8 training modules, the videos, the checklists, the cheat sheets, the quizzes, the slides, more. You get the bonus mastery package, the implementation month bonus, the SPX paycheck system, and the total value of that offer is $54.75. So here's the opportunity in front of you today. I'm going to roll up my sleeves. We're with a couple hundred people who are serious about generating income. If you choose to be one of them, together, we'll create an income system in your portfolio, even if you've never had success with options. We're going to do this. So the early bird price of the course is $12.95, but you spent about an hour with me today, so I want to give you a little bit of an extra bonus here. If you order before the end of the webinar, instead of paying $12.95, you can get it for $9.95. That means you get the full course, 1 year of access to the materials, the mastery package, the implementation month, all for $9.95. So that $9.95 is only going to be for those who register before we finish up today. Once we finish, it goes right back to $12.95. So if to order it, just go to optionspaycheck.com. Now, if you think it's expensive, you got to ask yourself, what's it going to cost you not to do this? How much money are you going to lose by trying to learn this by trial and error? How much potential profit are you going to miss out on? How much time and energy are you going to spend trying to do this on your own? And then ask yourself, how would your life be different if you did it and it worked? This isn't a cost, it's an investment in your future. You know, there's a saying that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago, so you could be sitting under it now enjoying the shade. Do you know when the second best time is? It's today. It's not too late to begin to prepare yourself for retirement and to learn to generate income. This is going to be one of those deciding days in your life. Is it going to be the day you decide to take action and set yourself up for secure retirement? Or is it going to be the day you look back where you squandered an amazing opportunity to create an income stream? I hope you don't regret the decision you make. Don't miss this opportunity. I look forward to working with you in class. You know, many of my students tell me they wish they'd started sooner. Don't look back a year from now and think, what if? This is your chance to change your financial trajectory, so don't let it pass you by. So again, go to www.optionspaycheck.com, get yourself registered. That $9.95 price is only available while we're live on the webinar. So if you've never taken the course before and you want the lowest possible price, this is it. Go to www.optionspaycheck.com to get yourself registered. Don't wait on this. Your financial future is going to depend on what you do. Secure your spot today. Once you register, you're going to receive a welcome email with everything you need to prepare. Okay? Now, before we go into the Q&A, I do want to cover some of the most common questions I hear. First is, well, Ron, when are the live sessions, and what if I miss one? Well, you're in luck because our live sessions actually start tomorrow. So the course officially begins tomorrow with our live welcome session. Usually lasts about 30 to 45 minutes tomorrow at 4:30. Just a live session where we're all get together. I'll show you where all the materials are, what's expected, where you can find help, everything you need to know to kind of kick off the course right. Now, if you sign up right now, you're going to get access to everything, right? The only thing you won't get access to right away is Options Pro and VectorVest if you need it. That's going to come, this week. So you're going to get access to all the course materials like the masteries and everything. You're going to watch the modules on your own. So by Wednesday, 4:30, if you're going to participate with me with the Module 1 Mastery session, watch Module 1 by Wednesday. These mastery classes are designed to take you from watching the pre-recorded material to live discussion of it. We're going to answer questions, do the assignments, do the quizzes with you, hit the key points. Just make sure you know exactly what we're doing and to make sure you're up to speed. So this week is a pretty compressed week. We got Mastery 1 on Wednesday at 4:30, Mastery 2 on Thursday at 4:30, and then an open Q&A Friday at noon Eastern Time. Now, if you cannot make those live sessions, everything is recorded, and we will release those usually within 24 hours of the class. So if you can't be there with us on Tuesday night, on Wednesday, you'll be able to see the live welcome. If you can't view us the live welcome or the mastery session on Wednesday the 6th, on the 7th, you'll be able to watch that recording for you. So you can watch all the recordings within 24 hours. So the entire month of August, our goal is to get you through the 8 modules and teach you the system. That way, come September, you're ready to implement. We start in September on Tuesday, September 2nd with our SPX and our stock classes. You're going to learn how to place the SPX trade. Then we're going to get together for stocks. And then you see the following Mondays, we have 2 separate classes, 11 and 2 p.m. for our trades. Those classes, like everything else, are recorded. So if you miss them live, it's not a big deal. Then you see we have office hours. The first one is Wednesday the 3rd at 4:30. And then we shift to Tuesday. Now, the cool part about those is the market's closed. I'll show you how to find trades for the following day that you can place overnight. Friday, we do it again at noon. So September is all about walking you through the system, making sure that you are prepared to place these trades. I'm going to be looking over your shoulder essentially and making sure you're ready. Greg just recently graduated and said, prior to the course, I struggled with knowing how to protect myself. When the market was moving away from me and I feared if I didn't fix it, I'd lose more of my portfolio than I could afford to lose. After taking the options paycheck, I feel better prepared to trade and much more confident. In the first month, I made a net of $10,200 from my options income trading with only 9 winners and 1 loser. I would absolutely recommend the course. It was well done, very educational and informative. It's an excellent educational opportunity that I'm thankful I took advantage of. Don't let fear hold you back. You'll make more in the first month than you paid to take the course. I was one of the fencers who didn't take the course for a long time when I saw it offered. I lost a lot by not taking the program sooner. I'm very grateful and appreciative of the hard work that was put into making this training program available. So, before we get into the final details, we want to be totally upfront with you. We have helped thousands of people use options to generate consistent monthly income, but this course isn't for everyone. It's actually why we've been able to get those great results with our students, because we're selective, and we ask you to be too. We don't want to sell to everyone. We want to help the right people succeed. That's how we get real results. So here's what we found over the years. The people who succeed in this program share a few things in common. They've got some basic options experience. So if you've bought or sold a call or put before, you're good. But if you've never touched options, we recommend starting with something like our Options Jumpstarter course. Those who succeed also have at least $10,000 available for trading. Not 10,000 total, 10,000 that you can actually dedicate to the strategy. So if that's your entire account, this may not be the best place to start. Your brokerage account has level 3 options enabled. That means you can place spread trades, the bull put and the bear call. So if your account isn't set up with your broker, make sure that's taken care of. And then finally, you're coachable. You don't try to outsmart the system. You follow the plan because that's where the results come from. So if you're checking those boxes, that's great. You're in the right place. And this is going to be one of those most valuable investments you've made in your financial future. And if not, that's okay too. It just means it isn't your time yet. We'd rather help 100 people succeed than sell to 1,000 who aren't ready and have them struggle. That's why we have such a high success rate. We work with the right people at the right time. Here's just a few of the great comments we've received from our prior students. Cheryl says she surpassed her expectations. She doesn't need the money back guarantee. I tripled my investment. Frank says, after taking the course, I already have a profit of $7,300. Before the course, it was a crapshoot. Now I believe in the options trades I'm doing. Cam says he made the initial investment back so many times over. Even though it's a small part of his portfolio, it's probably the most profitable. Jake says, I finally found a method of consistent winning with trades with a high probability of success. And more of our more recent graduates, Neville said, thanks for a wonderful course. Within a short time, you've opened our eyes to many things. Your experience, enthusiasm, your desire to teach comes through easily. You put a lot of thought in the training manual and already paid for the tuition with a few Delta 35 SPX trades. David says, the options paycheck experience is by far the best course I've ever attended in all my years. VectorVest since 99. You've eliminated my fear of trading options. The manner in which you present the material is truly outstanding. Waleed says, the course helps people like me develop self-confidence. If you have fears about options trading, you definitely need the course. Since the start of the course, I've done a few SPX trades with 19 wins, 12 losses, and a $5,700 gain. So here's the dream. Consistent income and financial freedom. Well, what's the risk? It's virtually none thanks to the options paycheck system. The time, just 15 minutes a day. The effort, we provide everything step by step. This is your moment. You've seen the results. You know the potential. It's time to take action. Don't let fear hold you back. Commit to your future. Let the options paycheck system show you what's possible. So go to optionspaycheck.com now to secure your spot. So again, www.optionspaycheck.com. That $9.95 price is only available while we're live on the webinar. After the webinar, the price does increase back to $12.95. And registration, this is important, does close tomorrow at 10 a.m. So get out there to Options Paycheck, fill your details in, and get yourself signed up. All right, let's go ahead and officially start our Q&A. And I think, Brian, are you coming in for the Q&A today?
Yeah. Hey, Ron, how are you doing?
Good to hear from you.
All right, great. Yeah, thank you for that reminder that it is so strange now to be less than 24 hours away from where registration is closing. So thank you for reminding everybody that that is tomorrow at 10 a.m. So folks, take advantage of it. This $9.95 is good for, I don't know, half hour, I think, while we finish up this Q&A. And then, thank you, Ron, about 30 minutes there. And then the $9.95 will go to $12.95, and then that'll go away 10 a.m. tomorrow Eastern, because Ron has his first live session tomorrow. So we got to get our student list all put together, make sure everybody is reminded and registered and everything. So take advantage of this while you can, because once registration closes, you can't get in until we do it some other time, months down the road. So now is a great time to get in. Ron, we just had a few questions come in. Uh, we some of the people in the chat have taken the class before, so we were letting them know that there is an alumni rate, which is lower than 995. But you have to let us know in the chat that that you feel you qualify for the alumni rate, and our teammate Steven will contact you individually and get you a private link to join at your alumni rate of 495. So let us know in the chat if that's something you want to take advantage of, and we'll take care of that for you. You also still need to register by tomorrow. So time is of the essence, or you can call our office tomorrow before 10 a.m., but that only gives you a small window, I think about an hour to call tomorrow morning. So might as well do it now while Stephen is here. Other than that, we had a couple of questions that I thought were really good. They actually both came in from Suresh. So Suresh, I know we answered you in the chat, but Ron, I thought these would be good questions for everybody to hear. And I know you touched on some of these while you were doing your, going through the schedule there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll do this one first for Suresh. He says, I have a day job and I work until 6 p.m. every day.
Mm-hmm.
He says, how do I take these courses then? And I'll even add to that, how can I take this and still be successful?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're going to have to view the course via the recordings for absolute sure, because you won't be able to make the live courses. But don't worry about that. That's the easy part. Taking the course, doing the recordings, you'll be fine doing that. You'll have access to the email to talk to me if you need to. I make little videos if you need questions answered. That's no problem. You'll have the support you need, and the recordings and everything is there. Now, I'm going to level with you. You're going to need a broker that supports that type of lifestyle. You're going to need something like Thinkorswim. You're going to need something like Tasty Trade, something like TradeStation or IB, a broker that allows you to place stop orders for your options trades. Because that way, what you're going to be able to do is place the trades, put a profit target on your trades, and then put a stop on your trade as well. So you're going to need a broker that can kind of support that type of trading. I use Thinkorswim; it works like a champ for that. I know that I don't use TradeStation, but I've heard that they can do that. IB does that, and Tasty Trade allows you to do that as well. So learning it's not a problem. You can watch the recordings, but from the trading standpoint, you are going to need a broker, in my opinion, that's going to be able to handle placing stops on options trades. That way, when you're working, you don't have to worry about scrambling to go close a trade if it hits like your stop and it's a loss or something like that.
All right. Thanks, Ron. And by the way, Suresh and everybody else, Ron mentioned this earlier, but we also have email support. So if you have questions off hours, you can send them via email. And then when our team comes in and starts working, and a lot of times it's Ron who replies, you'll get a response when we're open. So even if you come home from work at night, you think of a question while you're going through the videos, send in your question via email, and our team will get back to you. That way, it's as though you are on the live session getting help. It's just through email. Ron, I thought this next one was interesting because a lot of people like Suresh had typed in fearing that the market is very choppy.
Mm-hmm.
We got the, tax on, tax off, with the tariffs and all. And the market can seemingly feel choppy. And Suresh was saying the exact question was, how do you get the market direction in choppy conditions like we have today? And I'll tell you what I told Suresh, but I really love to hear your input on this. I had written back to Suresh or Stephen also wrote back saying that we use a signal that smooths out that choppiness. Like, for example, you had said we've been bullish since May. So I said we said to Suresh, we use a signal that smooths out the choppiness. It has helped us make 7% per month the last 3 months trading this system that you were showing today. But I want to pass it over to you. And what is your feeling on market choppiness?
Yeah, I think from a market timing perspective and a market trend perspective, I think, Brian, you hit the nail on the head there. We have, a smoothing system that works for that. Now, on a trade to trade level, we also, and this is the beautiful part about being an option seller, right? So we saw the volatility like last week, right? On Friday, the market got hammered, right? Well, I still had 4 bullish trades on from stocks. All of those trades were placed far enough away So even with that choppiness, it didn't matter. I still stayed in the trades. The market didn't go down far enough to stop me out. And as of today, all those trades that were ugly on Friday are back into profits today with the big move up. So, the big thing is number one, having that market timing system that smooths these things out. And then number two, the idea of being an option seller where we're placing the trades far enough away from the market to make sure we can survive that volatility. And this is a little bit more of an advanced step, but I will tell you this. The beautiful thing and what makes an option expensive is when volatility in the market goes up. When volatility in the market goes up, you actually get more room to be wrong. That's the cool part. So when the market gets volatile, by the way the trades work, they are actually placed farther and farther away. So kind of the options trades kind of work to that way. So you have more room to work as well. It's kind of cool.
All right. Now, Ron, let me ask the group this because we're answering most of the questions, so we're about to wrap up. In the chat, let me know if you think if you had Ron show you the course really quick, would that be beneficial to you? Before you even show it, Ron, I want to gauge interest. So those of you who are still here, would you like to see the behind the scenes of what the course looks like on the inside to help you make a better decision on whether it's right for you? If so, just like type yes into the chat and we could do that. And then Ron, Jason had asked a question about Fidelity, and I know you've used Fidelity when you were showing some trades with the IRA, and I don't know how much you've dabbled with like what is it called, Active Trader Pro or something.
Yeah.
But Jason had wondered, does Fidelity offer that stop loss thingy that you were talking about?
They do not, but it's not really a game changer. I typically, in a situation like that, I just use their alert system, and then it alerts me when a trade is near being stopped out. Then I just go in there and stop it out manually. So it's not a big deal. But if you can never be around your computer, I will tell you, you should probably get a broker that can handle, being able to place those stops. And right now, Fidelity just doesn't do it.
Yeah, I remember, Ron, I don't remember if you said this earlier, but we had put this course together for years. Like we were teaching this course. I say we, like mainly you. Ron was teaching this course for I don't know how many years it was, Ron, before you found out that little trade thing in Thinkorswim. But I remember, folks, Ron doing the trades Ron showed, and I was walking around Disney, and I got an alert just as Ron just mentioned. Got the alert, pulled out the phone, and placed the trade manually because I got the alert. And it didn't even need that fancy trade type that Ron was mentioning. Especially now with all the apps that brokers have, you can get an alert, then open up the app, and then go in and manually place the trade. And it stands out because I just happened to be walking around Disney when I got the alert to take care of the trade. So with that, let's see, it looks like you're opening up Excel. I don't know if you're pulling up your trades or anything, but
No,
did you want to show something?
I mean, I can, but
I didn't know if you. I didn't want to interrupt you. If you were,
I guess what I was going to show is like by the way, this is the checklist and spreadsheet you're going to get that's going to manage all your trades. This is the part of the that I put in that order for losses, and you can actually see that over like the last couple trades, I've actually not done it. So even myself, I've actually stopped putting stops in. Is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? It's just a preference thing. I just go in there and manually do my trades now. I don't even put stops in. I just go out there and just pretty much just take the trades and put an alert in, and that's it. I'm done. So, like I said, even I don't do it anymore. I just put the profit target order in, put an alert in, and if I get if a trade goes against me, I just go in there and exit the trade.
all right, cool.
Don't feel like it's a game changer.
All right, I get one of my teammates, Steven. Steven is about. I'm going to send you a note, Steven, because we have somebody who's taken the course before, and he needs a way to contact you. But he is listening on the YouTube stream, not in GoToWebinar. So, Ron, we had a couple of people. I'm going to challenge you, though, Ron. Are you ready for a challenge?
Sure.
All right. To show the inside of the course, in 2 minutes, or how about 3 minutes? I'll give you 3 minutes. Three
Sure,
minutes or less.
I can do that. All right, so here is when you get the link for our university site. Here's what the course is going to look like. So on the top, you've got a bunch of different stuff up here, like the welcome recording. Like this is going to be where you'll see the video that we do tomorrow because the course starts. I would tell you to go in there and print out the course curriculum checklist because this is just going to be kind of like, your step-by-step guide to make sure you've done everything in the module that you're supposed to. So if you go down to like module 1, if you open up recorded lessons, you'll see snapshot, lesson 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, if you look at the checklist, snapshot 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're going to see the review and the action items. You're going to see the review questions. You're going to see an action item walkthrough video. This is the link where you're going to find the mastery session recording once we upload it. So again, this just kind of makes sure you do every step of every module, and it lines up perfectly with all of these. And remember, the modules are pre-recorded, so you're going to watch those modules on your own time. Then you can come back into our mastery session and we're just going to review it. We'll hit the key principles and we'll do the assignment with you. Just make sure you have no questions about it. All the way through the modules, all 8. And then we get into our bonus module of the SPX trading system. A lot of people like to just start off with this and just start off with the 35 delta trade. That's where I would recommend you start, by the way. And then going down, here's the area for where you'll find all of our Q&A and office hours recording. So that the Friday noon Q&A session, if you open up that link right there, you'll find the recording for it come Friday. This is going to be where you're going to find the recordings of our live trading sessions when they start in September. You're going to get access to Options Pro in August and September. We got some training videos for you there if you want to watch those. This is our broker help section: Thinkorswim, E-Trade, IB, Ally, and Fidelity. I will tell you that the most help you're going to get is with Thinkorswim because that's the broker that I use. And then last but not least, this webinar link section, if you open that up, this is going to be where you're going to find links to all of the live sessions, plus a kind of a limited calendar. So tomorrow, let's say you sign up and then it's 4 o'clock and you're like, man, there's a 4:30 session today. I don't have a way to get to it. Maybe you didn't get the email. Doesn't matter. Come into the university site, go to your schedule and links, just click on the live welcome. It'll take you to the registration page. And this will be activated every week throughout the course to make sure you have a backup way to get into all the classes. Then under the resources section, for each of the modules, this is where you're going to find all of the printable material. So, you can watch the presentation in PowerPoint, then you can print out the slides if you want to have them, make some notes on them, whatever. And then, of course, down here, you've got the ones for the SPX. And then that checklist spreadsheet I showed you is down here. And then, I also didn't mention in the course curriculum checklist, one of the reasons I want you to download that is because after all of the module checklists, there is a schedule of live events. So if you're ever wondering when the live events are, this will take you through all of that material. So you know exactly when the live sessions are. And then again, if you don't have a link for it, just go down to webinar links down here, and that's where you can access the link to the course if you don't have it. How'd I do?
That's perfect. Actually, Jason just asked what time were the live sessions, and having that schedule up on the screen helped answer it. So why don't we do this, Ron? Let's wrap up for the night. Folks, I can't believe it is time to start the class for everybody tomorrow. We look forward to this throughout the year. And if you choose to join, you are not making a mistake. Let us prove to you that the system works, that you can do it, and that this is going to be something that you could use for the rest of your life. But I'm going to pass this over to Mr. Wheeler to officially wrap up for the evening.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian, and thank you to my other colleagues in the back that were helping out. I appreciate that as well. And thank you for spending this hour and about 30 minutes with me. So I hope you made the choice to join us. We're going to start tomorrow. We've been doing this class now for almost 10 years. We've got thousands of people we've taught this to. It really has been a very successful thing. When you use options the right way, it makes your trading so much easier. You don't have to worry about all the crazy, studies and indicators. You trade with a big degree of room to be wrong. It's just such an easy way to trade. So Thank you once again for spending the last hour and a half with me. I appreciate it. For those of you that signed up, I'm love to see you guys tomorrow. Be there at the welcome session. If you can't, no big deal. Watch the recording, but reach out to us if you have any help, you need any help, and we'll be there to help you every step of the way. So again, have a great evening, everybody. Thanks again, and best of success to you in the future. So thanks again, everybody, and have a great evening.